Is it recording?
It's recording.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone.
Welcome back to the Zen Den. We have been doing a lot of the travel series recently because we do have lots of travels to cover. But I think today we've kind of last minute decided just to do more of an off the cuff, just like subject covering episode.
Introspective, I think was the word you used.
The introspective episode, just more of an insight into our lives and how we think and how we think about the things around us, and just a bit of an insight into the conversations that we have. So even just this morning, we were kind of talking about some of our goals that we have for ourselves and how they're evolving and changing over time. So we thought, why not talk about goal setting?
Yeah.
Goal setting, managing all that side of things and everything that goes into it. It's a lot. It's what our lives are driven by. Our lives are driven by goals. If we didn't have goals, we'd probably never get out of bed in the morning. So it's a interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah, I think we're both very goal-driven individuals as well. We're into bodybuilding, we're into all the things, and all those sort of passions or hobbies come with, you need to set goals, otherwise you just don't really achieve what you set out to achieve.
But kind of what we were talking about this morning, and something that I wouldn't necessarily say we struggle with, but something we try to be conscious of is the goal driving your life, or is the goal consuming your life? I think that's a massive one that you need to be more conscious of, because I feel like a lot of the time a goal can start off as a very positive thing and it can give you energy and drive, and you're like, wow, I'm so excited to see this thing come to fruition. But then over time, it can kind of transform into more of a force that kind of consumes you of all your energy, and suddenly now it's this big task that needs to be done, and the initial passion and energy that came from it has now been transformed into like this draining energy of like, oh, I need to make it. I need to get this. I need to achieve this. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is how do we keep our goals as a positive driving force in our life, rather than our goals becoming almost like slave masters in a way, as in we're just giving everything to try and achieve this goal and leaving nothing for ourselves.
Yeah, I really like this conversation. I think it's quite relevant because, like, we were just talking about bodybuilding goals and how they, whilst they're good and it's good to have direction with like your nutrition and your training, sometimes you almost lose sight of why you're doing it in the first place, because you get so focused on those little nitty-gritty steps that you're taking towards that goal, whether it be like your step count each day or hitting a certain number of calories. And it's very easy to get hyper-focused on those. And we were just talking about this off mic, and Hugh was kind of just checking in with me and going, I just want to make sure that like you're still feeling you're wanting to work towards those goals, and it more so about like the nutrition side of things, because we've just come off the back of a couple holidays and we got to experience like how fun is it just like letting loose a little bit and eating what you want to eat within reason. I think, is that what you think prompted this, and some conversations we've had this week as well?
Definitely, I
surrounding
think
food.
Just as I said before, like reconnecting with what truly makes you happy and like where this goal came from and the passion behind it, rather than getting lost in the minutiae. So a lot of the times...
Sorry, what does minutiae mean?
Minutiae means like the little itty bitty details.
Oh, I've never heard that word.
So like minutiae would be getting my steps, getting my calories, all that kind of thing. Those are the minutiae, whereas the larger picture is I'm trying to achieve this physique, or I'm trying to win this show, or that's the big thing. The minutiae is all the little details that go into it. So I feel like a lot of the time you can get so caught up in the minutiae, have I done this, have I done this, have I done this, that you lose sight of the grand thing that was motivating you and making you excited in the
why
in the first place, like the why, the end result kind of thing. And yeah, I just feel like you need to enjoy these things and really reconnect with that passion and on like a daily basis too. Am I still enjoying this? Is this still the goal that I want to achieve? And also, um, a lot of the time I feel like you can set a goal and you don't even really examine where that desire came from. And a lot of the time you'll find later on in life, this goal that I set for myself is actually a goal that other people have set for me. So the only reason I wanted to do this is because such and such, I'm trying to make them proud, or I think it'll make them like me, or I think it'll make them respect me more. And I feel like those kind of goals, they're,
It's extrinsic motivation
yeah,
more so than intrinsic.
and it's not reflective of what you truly want and what you truly would like to work towards. So finding out where those goals come from, like, is this a goal that I've really come up with within myself and that I still want to achieve, or is this just like something I was trying to do to impress someone or make someone proud? And while that's like a nice thing to do, is to, like, obviously you want the people you love to be proud of you and support you and all that kind of thing, but you also got to make sure, like, is this really what I want for myself? And also taking note of the fact that, like, yourself is not a solid being. Like, you progress and you change and you grow over time. So a goal that may have been great for you 2 years ago doesn't necessarily maintain and have to stay and be a good goal for the you of today. So to check in with, like, is the me of today still resonating with the goal of yesterday? Like, and allowing that goal to transform and possibly have a day where you sit down and set a new target or a new pathway. And it's not like you've given up and it's not like you've quit. So checking in with the you of today, because a lot of our goals were set by who you were a year, 2, 3, 4 years ago. So checking in to make sure, does that goal still resonate with the me of today? Because I can talk from personal experience that my goals, while they have been set down a similar pathway, they have changed a lot over the years. And I think that's something important to recognize as well, is that I think a lot of people have a mentality of, like, I can't change my goals until I achieve them. Otherwise, that makes me a loser, or I've failed, or I haven't achieved what I set out to achieve. But it's just a change in direction, a change in orientation. Like,
Moving the goalposts.
yeah, moving the goalposts a bit. So sure, maybe you're not trying to arrive at this exact goal anymore, but a lot of the time the goal's just adapted a little bit to, now it's a little bit over there, or now it's a little bit over there. It's not like you've completely cut everything off. It's just like I've reassessed my values. I've reassessed what's important to me. And through that analysis, now that goal is not there. It's now there. Now that goal is not this thing, it's this thing. Because I know for myself personally, a lot of the time I've been like, oh, but I said I was going to do this, and I'm not going to stop until I've done this. But you're just torturing yourself. And I think it's important to realize goals are there to motivate us. Goals are there to give us drive and to give us purpose. And if you look at your goals and that's not how it's making you feel, then it might be time for a bit of a reassessment.
Give yourself permission to change the goals and pivot a little bit, because life happens and they're not going to be concrete and set in stone. Like, things happen. You do need to be adaptable as a human being. And I think especially with something like a lot of our goals are physical. So whilst we have a lot of like mindset goals as well, we also both have a lot of physical goals, because we're very passionate about the gym and just staying fit and healthy. But sometimes you get injured. Sometimes plans change or things come up down the track, and you've got to adapt that goal a little bit. And so I think it's like giving yourself permission to do that. It's okay.
I would like to do a little exercise with you now, actually, Liz, and then you can repeat it for me.
Okay.
A little bit of a psychoanalysis. Can you think of the very first time that you set like a big goal for yourself and you were like, this is the thing that I want to achieve. This is the thing I want to do.
Oh, I love that question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me
You
that.
could be 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever the memory that comes to you where the first time you were like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I'm not just like I'm going to do this tomorrow, but like a goal that was like, this is in the future. This is something I want to achieve.
I think
And for those listening at home, you can complete this task too.
get your pens and paper out. Oh no!
Write down your top 3 points.
Oh, I love this. Yes, so I think it would be probably primary school kind of time.
Ooh,
So we're going back a long
it's
time
early.
now. It would be definitely a sporting goal around swimming. So when I was a competitive swimmer, which I did from a very early age, I do remember I used to always get on the podium. I was pretty good at my school, but there was one girl who I can distinctly remember always beating me. Every year she freaking beat me. And I used to get quite annoyed about it because I was like, oh, I get so close. And I think a goal of mine was like, I want to get closer to I want to beat her. I want to try and beat her on that podium and get higher up. And I want second place. Or I want
This is so interesting.
Why is it interesting?
Oh, well, when I was younger, I had no goals or like competitive nature or anything like this. So it's really interesting to hear
But we're quite different in
Yeah.
that sense. Yeah, you're not.
No, but this is very interesting to like link that up with, because obviously you have goals now still based around competition and competing and that kind of thing. So it's very interesting that that's still come through.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a follow-up question, but you kind of already answered, I suppose. But my follow-up question was going to be, what do you think really motivated that goal?
To be honest, at that time, I think it was definitely external validation. Like I can actually confidently say that it is. And after a bit of reflection over the last couple of years, looking back at my childhood when I used to be very shy and have very low self-esteem, I think it was wanting the validation of my friends and my peers at school to be like, oh, Liz won or Liz came second, or like it was that like success to me would give me like reward me with maybe friendships or validation from people that I went to school with. And
Isn't it interesting that when it comes down to it, I think most goals are motivated by that. So even if it seems on the surface of like, so when you first told that story, a surface impression would be like, oh, she just wants to be better than this person. That's very selfish of her. She just wants to be the best.
yeah,
But in reality, what fuels most goals is like love and acceptance. So on the surface, that looked like, oh, you wanted to do that because you to be better than someone else. But no, the real reason why I wanted to win is not to make myself like look amazing. It's that I wanted my peers and my friends and family to accept me and to be more interested in me because I wanted to feel loved and accepted by them. And I thought that by putting myself up here, that's how I would get that. So I think most goals, when it comes down to it, even if on the outside they seem very selfish or intrinsic, I think it's more so like everyone wants to be accepted. Everyone wants to be like part of a group.
yeah,
Because I know for myself personally, mine was a lot later in life.
yeah.
I feel like I
tell
was
me
quite,
yours.
compared to you, I was quite an aimless, goalless soul. I think maybe to do with the fact that in high school I had very low confidence, so I don't think I really set goals for myself. It was more just like trying to get by day by day.
You weren't bullied in school though, were you?
Well, bullying is a term thrown around loosely now. It probably would have qualified as bullying now because they're a bit soft these days. But back in my day, it was just like, that's just part of the game. Like I'd say I would hear like fatty or fat turd or fat. I said the word turd because I'm trying to keep this G-rated, but like stuff like that'd be a daily occurrence. Like I would hear something about my weight on a daily basis, whether it be from someone at school or one of my brothers or whatever it is. Like it's always kind of in your face, so you're kind of always getting like checked in that way.
If people don't know as well, if people don't know Hugh as well
If you
as
don't
I
know
do,
my past,
Hugh used to be a big boy.
a big boy. Well, I'm
And
still a
not-
big boy, but
not a big boy like he is today, a big fat boy.
yeah, a big fat boy. So my first goal that I can seriously remember like having in my head and committing to was weight loss.
Mm.
And I think that probably would have started when I was like 16 or something like that. And I just remember, because up until then, like, sure, I would say that obviously I didn't want to be overweight, but there wasn't really anything in me that was like willing to do anything about it. I just wanted to keep eating the food I wanted to eat, and I didn't want to exercise. I just wanted to play computer and video games and stuff, and it was just whatever. I was just going through the cycles. But then one day I just remember kind of being like, in my head, just being like, no, like I want to change. Like I want this to be different. I don't want to feel like this. And again, that whole motivating force was the same for me. It was, I want to feel accepted. I want to feel like the people around me want to be with me and love me and all this kind of stuff. So in my head, the goal was like, if you can lose the weight, that's how you're going to achieve this. So that was the very first goal I ever had for myself, was very like body centric. And it was like, I want to lose weight. That was the first time I can ever remember having a goal that went beyond something very like surface daily level of like, oh, I want to win the sports match tomorrow or I want to whatever. But it was never like long term. It was never like, I want to be the best at this, or I want to be amazing at this, or I want to be confident, or I want to be that. I never really had those thoughts. My first long-term planning goal, I remember in my mind, was like, I want to lose weight, and this is something that I will make daily habits around, and daily tasks that I will do in order to make this happen.
Can you remember, you said you kind of came to that decision, but can you pinpoint, like, was there one really nasty comment made, or was there something that was a catalyst for this to suddenly kickstart?
You're trying to make me cry now.
I want
You're
some
trying
tears.
to get some tears for the views.
We haven't had tears for a few episodes.
Yeah, it's more of like a cascade of events that eventually cause like a fall, stimulate enough of a negative reaction in yourself to stimulate like, this is the time for change. But there's definitely a number that I think particularly around that time is when you start to be interested in girls, and like the whole concept of like love and finding a partner and all that kind of stuff is starting to come up in your head. So I think that was a big one for me. I just remember once, like, because there was like this kid at school, and like he made up some rumor that said that I thought that I could, you know how he is in high school, you're like, oh, I'll get with this chick. He made up that like I had said that I reckon I could like get with some chick, and like was telling people like, oh, Huey said you reckon you could get with this chick or something. I don't know, just to get a laugh or whatever. Yeah. And I remember that girl like found out about it, and I just remember like that they were all like laughing and just being like, oh, that's like the funniest thing ever. And just to like, to like be there. And that got so imprinted in my brain of like, it's laughable to think that a girl would ever want to be with you kind of thing. And in my head, I was just like, man, I need to like if that's currently where I am right now. And I remember it seems like such a little thing, but that thought got so stuck in my head for so long. And it took me so many years to like try and get past that. This one thought in my head, there was like, it's like a joke for you to think that a girl would ever want to date you, or a girl would ever
that's really hard,
want to be with you kind of thing. And that just stood with me for so long. But that was one of the major ones. That as well, and like just starting to see how people would react around me and the way they would talk to me. And like I even remember like I would get home from school and Dad would be like, you're not allowed in the house until you do like a half an hour walk around the block kind of thing. And
I've never heard that.
Yeah, but I was such a fatty with bad habits, but I would just walk around the corner and then just sit down for sit down for half an hour and then come back
Wayne thought you were
and
like
pretend
out
that I've
doing what
been
he told you
pretend that I've
to.
been exercising the whole
Oh my
time.
gosh.
But yeah, just all those things that really put this message in your head of like you are not okay. You need to change. So I think that's a classic example of a goal when you look at the motivation of it, not a great motivation to be fueling your goal with.
No.
Goals should be about, obviously, I think they should be about betterment, but betterment from a starting point of acceptance, but acknowledging the fact that I could be better, rather than a goal that's based on a massive deficit of I'm a piece of shit. I need to try and make myself acceptable. Because when you have that deficits they just can't be filled. And the stakes are so much higher because it's like I can't go back to this, so there's so much more stress around trying to achieve the goal and everything. Whereas if you're already okay with who you are and a goal to you is just something to inspire you to move in a certain direction and try and achieve something, then it's so much more of like a pure motivating force. You're motivated by like excitement and just like exploring new opportunities. Whereas if you're coming from the place of like, I'm not okay, there's something wrong with me and I need to do things to fix that, the motivation is now like fear and not accepting yourself and depression, and it really taints the energy that you have going into it, and it also taints the results, I think. So I think like it's like making a cake. Like it can be the most beautiful cake in the world, but if the ingredients that you used to make it were like salt and what was it, onions and
I don't know. I'm thinking Vegemite.
What Vegemite, yeah, whatever. Like it can look beautiful, but if it's been made with all these like disgusting ingredients, it's not going to be a cake you want to eat. Same as, and you see it a lot in bodybuilding as well. These people with these amazing physiques, but you talk to them and they're still depressed.
They're a shell of a human being.
They're still depressed. They haven't worked on themselves mentally, so they're really insecure, and they're either got like a massive ego, or they're really shy and they hate on themselves. And it's like it's not just about finding a good goal or like there is no good or bad goals, but it's not just about finding a goal, but also having the right motivation moving towards that goal.
Having self-awareness of the driving force behind the goal.
Yeah.
So it's like we always talk about never coming from a sense of lack in life. So with your goals and the driving force towards wanting to achieve something, you never want to, or entering a relationship, like whatever it is, you never want it to come from a sense of lack.
Yeah, it sounds very woo-woo and like life coachy, but it's like have it be an expression of your joy. So it's like
I don't think that's woo-woo.
It's kind of like, look, if you heard someone be like, let your life be an expression of your joy.
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds a bit woo-woo.
But it's kind of like that. It's kind of like, let this thing be a way that I can express my love of what I'm doing. Like, I love this thing. I love doing it. And this is me moving towards the things that I want to achieve and I want to create. And I'm doing it from a place of, this is how I want to be, and these are the things I love to do, and this is just an expression of that, rather than I feel so deficient right now that I'm going to do all of these things in the hope that that's going to make me feel better.
Yeah, and I think when I did my first bodybuilding competition, I've reflected on this now, and I can see that goal was definitely for the extrinsic motivation. It was like wanting external validation from people. And now we come 7 years later, 6-7 years later, when I'm working towards another bodybuilding show for the second time. And this is why this conversation even came up, because Hugh was kind of touching base with me and just sort of just checking in, which we do often. And I love that about our relationship. We're constantly checking in with each other, mental health checks, and just making sure that motivation towards that goal is still the same as
my my biggest thing with Liz is I really want to make sure that she makes decisions based on what she wants as well. Because as Liz has previously self-diagnosed herself, she does have people-pleasing tendencies. So a lot of the time, I can even hear in the language she uses, she's like, "Oh, but this person wants this, or this person wants this, or such and such wants me to do this, or such and such wants me to do this." So a lot of the time, I have to be like, "But what does Liz want?" Like,
Yeah.
make sure, like, it's awesome to look after what other people want as well, but also checking in with you, what do you want? And then translating that over to goals. You may have a certain goal set out because you're like, "Oh, I know that it's going to make this person proud or this person proud. And I know this person is going to love it when I do this, this, and this." But also checking in and being like, "But does it make you proud? Is it something that you love doing? Is it something that's going to make you happy?" It can't simply be based on impressing other people or satisfying other people's needs, because at the end of the day, that's up to them. People need to satisfy their own needs. People need
Yep.
to do things that make themselves happy. It's not up to you to satisfy those needs. What's up to you is to make sure that you are doing what makes you happy, because when you're happy, you make the people around you happy. We have this whole thing in reverse of like, if I can make you happy, that will make me happy. But you're trying to influence somebody who has their whole own dynamic going on, and that's their responsibility. And you're hoping that by making them happy, that's going to make you happy, when it needs to be the reverse. You need to take actions that make you happy, because when you're happy, the people around you will be happy.
The only person responsible for your happiness is you. Like,
You.
yeah.
And coffee.
And coffee.
Coffee make me happy.
No, I love this conversation, and it is really important to check in, and I love that we both keep each other accountable. It's like something I keep Hugh accountable for, because I know that he sometimes slips into this pattern of going to the gym from sometimes a bit of a sense of lack and overtraining and
demons.
yeah, and so I often check in with you on that, and I haven't for a little while. How's your headspace with that at the moment?
Oh, the demons.
The demons? Are we fighting demons, or are we beating the demons?
It's an interesting question. Definitely a lot less. I still have it every now and then. Like, sometimes I'll see somebody who's like super shredded, and there'll be those little thoughts will come up and be like, "You should do a diet, you should do a shred, because you're not that shredded. But if you were that shredded, then you'd be happier, or you'd be whatever." And it kind of like those old tendencies come out of like perfect body equals happiness kind of thing. But I am a lot better now of like, I think it's important to realize that those things don't ever really go away. It's not like you do self work and then suddenly you never have a bad thought in your head again. And to have a bad thought means that you're failing in self work and failing in bettering yourself. But I think where the power comes in is not the absence of thoughts, but the absence of identifying with those thoughts. So I'm getting a lot better at like, when those thoughts come up, yeah, there will be that little surge of like this energy around like, yes, that's true. I want to go down that way. If I can lose this much weight and look this way, then I'm going to be happy. And that may play itself out in my head, but then 5 or 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, whatever it is, I can reflect on it and be like, no, that's not necessarily true. That's definitely, I know why those thoughts came up, because I have believed that in the past, but I've had enough experience now and lived enough of my life to realize that that's not the solution. That's not really the way things work for me. It's just a thought that's come into my head, just the same as like the same discipline that you can have with that is the same as like if you walk past a bakery and there's like a really nice cake in there and a thought comes into your head that's like, "Oh, how cool would it be to eat that whole cake? That'll make you really happy." But
those thoughts will always
those
come.
thoughts will always come. But like, there is a part of you that's like, "Nah, I know how sick that'll make me feel afterwards, and then I'm probably not going to feel great about myself, because like That's just like a poor health decision in general. And I know I feel good for about 5 minutes, but then I have like a sugar crash and I actually feel really shit for the rest of the day. So you have enough self-awareness to realize, no, I will not feel good if I eat a whole cake. You take that same self-awareness and apply that to other thoughts that come up in your head, like, I need to do this to feel okay, or I need to look like that, or it's the same mechanism. They come up. You're like, you play it out in your head, same as with the cake. You imagine yourself eating the whole cake, and for 5 minutes, you're like, oh, that would be so cool. Maybe I should do that.
How fun would that be?
But then 5 or 10 minutes later, you're like, you think about everything else, and you're like, no, that's just a little fantasy I had, and I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can relate to that. I talked about this with Jess. We recorded a podcast yesterday on Let's Overthink, and was talking about like managing anxiety and low self-esteem. And like you just said, the thoughts always come up. Like for me, I've had a lot of negative self-talk in the past and overcome a lot of that, but I still have all those thoughts come up on a daily basis. I've just gotten a lot better, and I have a lot more self-awareness now to recognize. Bella really wants to be a part of this podcast today. I've had a lot of self-awareness now that when those thoughts come up, I can identify them for what they are, and I accept that I have the feeling, and then I just let it go. And that's something that we've both worked on a lot, is that letting go technique. Comes from a book that we both really like and resonate with called Letting Go. So the letting go technique helps me a lot with letting go of those thoughts and the negative self-talk when it props up. Would you say you use that technique, or do you have other ways of dealing with when that mental noise appears for you around maybe overtraining and wanting to look a certain way?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I implement any specific technique, but kind of just like what I was saying before, is just not seeing that our thoughts only really have the reality that we give them. So you can have a million thoughts in your head, but the only ones that stick are the ones that you focus on, and you're like, oh, that one is important. That one is me.
Give
that
energy
one
to.
is whatever. I give my energy to that. And so even though a thought may come up and it may stick for a while, such as, I really need to look like that, and then I'll be happier. Just letting it, not trying to resist it, because then that kind of makes it even louder. But just seeing it for what it is just like, it's almost like an echo from the past is what I'd like to call it. And to see it that way, it was like, yes, there was a time when I believed that. And so that's why this echo is still kind of occurring in my head, but it's just an echo from the past. Like when you yell out in a cave and you hear that thing bounce back at you, that's not actually somebody yelling back to you. It's just an echo from something that's happened in the past. So just kind of more treat it like that. Yes, I may have a thought that says this, or I may have an emotion that comes up about this, but these are just echoes from when I was young and easily influenced and had no idea about who I was or what was really important to me. And I had all these things going on and all these people saying things to me, and very impressionable. So yeah, it's only fair that I would still have those echoes going around in my head sometimes. But yeah, if you don't see it as real and just treat it like that, it's a lot easier for it just to let it come up and pass.
I really love that. We always laugh because Hugh comes up with these analogies. I don't know where they come from.
Well, I think so. It's something else that we've been trying to practice when it comes to doing our podcast is, I can't remember where I heard it, but it talks about like the greatest creativity comes from a place of emptiness. So not coming into something with preconceived ideas of how you want it to be or what you want to talk about, but you simply just come in and sit down, and whatever arises is the thing that needs to arise in that moment. And that's even what we did today with the podcast. Like we specifically don't pick a topic. We sit down.
Don't plan.
We sit down and we're like, what feels right today? So we may have done a travel episode. We may have done an episode about maybe some of the work we've been doing. We may have done an episode about whatever, but we kind of just prefer to sit and be like, what seems right today, or what feels like it wants to, I know it sounds woo-woo, but like what feels like it wants to come into the universe today.
No,
What wants to come forth from me.
when you put the voice on, it sounds
Yeah, I know,
way
but
more
like
woo.
just acknowledging the fact
So
that a
funny.
lot of this stuff is seen as like, I think because of religion and everything else, people like when you start talking like this, people assume like, oh, this guy's a religious nut or he's off his rocker or whatever it is. But
It's not that at all.
I genuinely believe that is that like the greatest block to creativity and to a lot of positivity and everything is ourselves. Like we block ourselves from these things because we overcomplicate things in our heads and we put all these ideas about how things should be and this should be this way and I need to talk about this. But I think a lot of time if you can just get out of your own way, get out of your own head and just let whatever needs to come forward, that's when you see a lot of your best results and talk about a lot of the best things. Because that like what I said just before, as I was saying it, I was like, oh wow, this is really
So profound.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is really cool. But like, I never would have thought to say that if I had thought about what I should say because I didn't even know that was in my head.
Yeah.
But to be able to sit here and just talk and let it come out, it's almost like I was watching it come out as it happened. And like, it seems so narcissistic to
Not at all. Not at
no,
all.
I was about to say it seems so narcissistic because me and Liz like to watch our own podcast. Like
Oh,
we watch it
yeah.
back afterwards. And a lot of people say to me like, oh, it must be hard to watch it. Like I hate watching myself, but I actually really enjoy it because I think of this reason. Like a lot of the time after our episodes, I don't even remember what we talked about because it's not rehearsed. We just talk about it in the moment. So when we go back and watch it, I'm watching it and it's almost like I'm watching two other people.
Or you're hearing it for the
Hearing
first
it for the
time,
first time
even though
kind of
you've
thing.
said these things.
Yeah.
I resonate with that so much when I like host at Sisterhood, or if I watch a video back or like our podcast. I feel the same way, and I think it's because we like exactly what you said about having a more empty space, like mentally, to allow the creativity. If you don't pre-rehearse and practice and cloud your mind with all these thoughts and going into something, it makes room for creativity. And I resonate with that so much because when I get up and talk at Sisterhood or when we do our podcast, if I haven't thought about it beforehand, magic happens. We both find it. We watch our podcast back and we're like, wow, we're really insightful. And like, not to sound vain, but I'm really proud of the conversations we have because we come into it from that approach of like, let's just see how the conversation goes. And that's why we love podcasts because I think it creates a space to allow your brain to just be free and
as much as you don't want to take a negative perspective to your mind, because your mind is an amazing thing. It has a lot of amazing functions. We wouldn't be able to function in society without it. But at the same time, a lot of the pollution you experience, it's all from here.
Self-inflicted.
It's all from here. Like we're adults now. How often do people actually like say bad things to you? Very rarely. Like you have to be in like a full fight disagreement with somebody for them to be saying negative things to you. Sure, when you're a child, children are brutal. But we're all adults now, so we're all generally pretty nice to each other. So if you have a whole lot of negative stuff going on, chances are it's all from here. It's all self-generated.
You've created it yourself.
If you can put that out of the way and not have that polluting your mind as you try and talk and in your relationships, in your business work, in your creative flow, whatever it is, if you can put all that to the side and just be present in what you're doing, chances are the conversation with the loved one, the creative project, the thing you've got to do at work is going to happen a lot more beautifully and like with a sense of flow because you don't have all that pollution.
You got to get out of your own way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like remove the blocks that you're probably creating yourself and allow some magic to happen. But when you have, like I experienced that with my anxiety and, you know, having issues with trying to make friends in the past and building new relationships, the block wasn't other people. It was always me. It was a block I was creating myself. And when you realize that, you're like, oh, I just need to get out of my own way. And then I can open myself up to the universe, and then the universe creates a beautiful life for you. Well, you create it for yourself, but
It's created through you.
yeah.
You are an expression
Here we go.
of the universe.
Come
an
on.
expression of your joy. No, I need to portray this stuff in a comedic light, because if you're too serious about it, people just switch off to it. And
Yeah.
it's like, this dude needs to
Get
go.
over yourself, bro.
This dude needs to go have a good look at himself. But no, it's not woo woo. It's not spirituality. And although I do consider myself to be a spiritual person, I think it's important to recognize that everything we've talked about, if you want to break it down, it all makes sense psychologically.
Yep.
Like if you're a very logical brain person and you have no time for the spiritual side of things, just looking at this from a logical perspective, everything we've talked about today can be explained through science and the study of the mind and the study of the brain and just the way that human beings work, the way everything's programmed. So don't let words like magic and universe and whatever switch you off and be like, this isn't for me. Because,
no, it's just the way we explain things.
yeah, because
but have your own
they're just
interpretation.
words, and this is for you. This is for everyone. Every single there's not a single person I've ever talked to who doesn't experience all of these things. So, and if you think that you don't, then you're just not self-aware enough. You're either in denial.
Check yourself.
You're either in denial, or you're on so many drugs that you can't even understand what's going on up here. But if you are a human being like the rest of us are, you go through all of this stuff as well.
Yeah, 100%.
I think let's try and bring it back to goals. We got a little bit off tangent then. We're still talking about the motivation of them and the motivating force, but more so on the fact of goals. Let's do a full loop now. So your first goal was beating a girl in swimming.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is your primary goal or your most important goal right now? And then also let's real world examine it, and in the moment right now, like see if there's anything that you may want to change about it moving forward.
Just one goal specifically.
Yeah, let's just start with one.
I think
one of the ones that, even if it's not the most important, maybe just a goal that you think about the most or that you work on the most or is the most kind of tangible one.
I think it would have to be the bodybuilding goals, because that is like a daily thing that props into my mind of what was the word you used earlier in the episode about the little goals?
All the minutiae.
The minutiae. Yeah. There's a lot of minutiae.
Your routine is very much based around that goal.
Yes. So I would have to say that is probably the biggest goal on my mind at the moment.
And describe to me clearly that goal. Like, what is that goal?
Well, the goal is to compete towards the end of next year, and currently that looks like entering into a build phase, starting the build phase at a good body weight, and that's kind of the issue at the moment is I'm not getting to that body weight, and so I'm probably putting a lot of pressure on myself to be good with my food and hit my steps and make sure my training's really good, and I think that's why the conversation came up this morning, because Hugh was kind of checking in with me and saying, you know, are you still enjoying what you're doing? Like, you don't always seem like you're enjoying yourself at the gym these days. And yeah.
Okay, you said the goal is to compete.
Yeah.
Is that really what the goal is, or is the goal to win?
No, I think the goalpost has shifted slightly with this goal over time. I think currently the goal is to I want to prove to myself that I can do it, because I'm very proud of everything that's brought me to this point, physically growing, but more so mentally. And so for me, that tangible end goal of stepping on stage next year, it's not everything for me, but it's almost like a prize for me to be like, wow, look how far I've come. This is an opportunity an opportunity for me to showcase how far I've come both physically and mentally. It's almost like a reward. But what I need to remind myself is that very thing. And sometimes I get caught up in wanting to make my coach happy, wanting to make people in my life happy that I've expressed this goal to, and they're keeping me in check, and they want this goal as much as I do potentially, and I don't like letting people down. And I think sometimes I get caught up in, oh well, I've told so and so that I'm working towards this goal, so I got to keep working towards it because I'm going to let them down otherwise. That's definitely something I am probably battling with a little bit.
That's interesting. When do you think it changed for you? Because I remember last time we talked about it, I think this is like months ago. The goal was more so on winning, but now it seems less important for you to actually win, and you're focused more just on the competing side of things itself.
It changed when we made some changes to my approach towards getting to stage with like certain protocols, and I made some big decisions on now pushing towards that goal in a more natural way, just for health reasons, fertility reasons, and all personal reasons. And so I think when I made that big decision, I kind of checked in with myself and said, well, as much as I want to win, because I am extremely competitive with myself and I hold myself to a very high standard, I think I'm also being realistic, but also taking the pressure off myself a little bit. Now, whilst the goal I'm still very driven towards, I think I also had a slight reality check and thought, okay, I'm going into a category where most people are going to be using certain enhancements that I'm no longer using. So that puts me at a disadvantage. However, I'm still going to work extremely hard to the best of my ability towards this goal because I want to make myself proud. I want to make my friends and family proud.
I think that's a really good point to focus on, is when you're setting goals for yourself, you can make them as big as you want, but I think when you're tracking your progress towards those goals, rather than being too focused on the results, like what Liz just said then, like whether I'm going to win or not, the effort should be, like Liz just said, more on the work you're putting in, the effort, the day-to-day things. Like, am I doing the right things? Am I putting the effort in? Am I making that move towards my goal? And I think a lot of people get really frustrated and can get really depressed because they're not seeing the results that they want. Like, they have this result-centric viewpoint of like, I need to be seeing these results. But I think if your focus is more so on the effort, like am I working hard in the gym? Am I doing all the right things? Then I think your chances of being happy and enjoying the process, and because then when you're focused on the effort, you take the time restrictions out of it. When you put time restrictions on it of like, I want to look like this in 6 months, or I want to look like this in 6 weeks, suddenly there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of fear and there's a lot
Takes
of
the fun out of
I
it
need
too.
to do this, and you're just focused on the result. But if the emphasis is more on like, am I doing the work? Am I doing the right habits? All this kind of stuff, then the focus is more so on the journey rather than the destination. So, and when your focus is on the journey, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It can take 6 months, it can take 6 years, but because you're getting the fulfillment out of the process, you are doing all the things, and that makes you feel good every day. Yeah. But I also wanted to ask, so like we said before, when your last goal was competition, the motivating force was you wanted to be loved and accepted by your peers because you didn't feel that love and acceptance of your peers, or at least not in the way you wanted to. What's the motivating force now?
I actually think it's similar to what it used to be, but I think it's got a way better driving force behind it. So whilst in the past it was maybe to seek acceptance and validation from people, I still want to do it now for me. But when I picture, because I'm big on visualization, when I picture the day that I step on stage and compete and whatever that looks like in terms of winning a medal, maybe I don't win a medal, but just that whole experience, I visualize like you in the audience. I visualize my coach, my family, my friends, and bringing joy to them and making them feel proud in that moment. I don't picture like them putting a medal over my neck and standing and getting the photo. I actually just am picturing the faces of the people I love in the crowd watching me and making them feel really proud of me. I think that's a really massive driving force for me. And yeah.
So not to, and just be honest, because we can be honest here. Don't just give me the answer you think I want. Give me the answer that rings true for you. So just then you said, because when you do that, you picture all these people in your life sitting there being proud of you. Is there a part of you that feels like the people in your life aren't proud of you right now?
No, I think they're really proud of me. I know my friends are because they tell me how amazing I am and they tell me they love me. I think.
Do you believe them when they say that?
Yeah, I do. I do because I feel it in myself. Like I'm proud of myself these days. Maybe not so much in the past. I think there's probably a little part of me because my family don't completely agree with the bodybuilding goals just from concerns for my health, which is so fair, and it's coming from a sense of love. But I think maybe there's a small part of me that wants to show them that if I was to do well, it was all worth it. And I think that was sort of the experience last time I competed. My family had a lot of concerns about what it was doing to my health and, getting to such a low body fat. They were definitely concerned. But then when I did really well in my show, it was almost like it put all of that to bed. And whilst I don't think they wanted me to continue with the bodybuilding, I think they could understand why it was so important to me, seeing me do well. So there's probably a little part of me that wants to do well for that reason as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting because like if your driving force behind doing something is for people to feel a certain way about you, generally that would indicate that right now you don't feel like they feel that way. Because if you already felt like they felt that way, what's the driving force? Like they already are proud of you. They already are all these things. So just thought I would check about that.
Yeah, it's probably something I need to reflect on a little bit. Yeah.
And that's where I was going to come into the fact of like a lot of the time you can find our goals may fall away as we become more accepting of ourselves and become more connected to the people around us. And I think it's important to realize that that's okay. And a lot of times that's actually a really positive thing because a lot of, like we were talking about before, a lot of our goals can be fueled by a sense of inadequacy. So for a goal to fall away can sometimes be an extremely positive thing. It means you've achieved that feeling of adequacy, that feeling of self-acceptance, and now that goal no longer has to be there for you. So I think it's important to realize that a lot of the time we think we need goals, but sometimes what we need is to accept ourselves enough so that those goals can fall away. And not saying that in your position because I think I'm really excited about the idea of you competing and stuff as well. But it is very interesting to keep a track of what's motivating me and is there something I can do now to help me along my journey to achieving all those things. Like, so if you say my goal is to do this and I want to do this because I'm motivated by this, this and this, maybe you can look more so at the motivations and be like, is there something I could do now to achieve all that? And I've simply just convinced myself that there needs to be this faraway goal that gets achieved and then I can experience that. Or maybe is there something I could even do today that could make me experience that, that makes so I can live the life and experience all these feelings that I've always wanted right now, rather than making it into this faraway goal that's going to be achieved someday in the future.
Yeah, and I think I definitely have to check in with myself pretty regularly, and you help me do this as well with this bodybuilding goal because it is still so far away, that stepping on stage, but I try not to make that the be all and end all. It's like, yeah, that's the goal, but it's not everything. Like I love the process of bodybuilding on a daily basis, and whilst at the moment I'm probably putting a bit too much pressure on myself, and maybe I've lost a bit of the love for it here and there, for the most part, I really enjoy the process day to day. Like I love ticking the boxes. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so accomplished. And I just genuinely enjoy what I'm doing. So I probably should get back to that and make that the center of my focus. It's like you're doing this because you love it. And I think that is something that I could keep myself accountable for, and make sure, check in on the week. Are you enjoying training right now, or are you doing it because you're trying to tick a box? Or are you enjoying doing your steps, or
Yeah.
is it because you have to?
Love what you do. Love what you do. I think that's the key to any goal, and to check in whether a goal is fulfilling or if it's the right goal for you. If you wake up in the morning and you're excited about doing the things you need to do to move yourself closer towards this goal, then I think no matter what that goal is, that's a great goal. I always take this back to like bodybuilding just because that's what I know, but you could use this with any example. I had a talk with somebody in the gym, Matt Orchard. He's
Shout
IFBB
out.
pro here. And we chatted one day, and it was really funny for the both of us to come to the same conclusion is like, if obviously I don't compete, but he does. And he was saying that like, if when he retires, and I had the same conclusion, so like nothing's ever really going to change for me. But he was saying, if I retire, like nothing's going to change. I'm still going to get up in the mornings. I'm still going to do like
Do
my
the same
steps.
things.
I'm still going to train as much as I train. I'm still going to train with the same intensity I train. I'm still going to make sure I stay in shape, all these kind of things. The only difference is that I'm just not going to compete anymore. And I think that's an amazing way to know that you're really doing what you love doing, is that you can say to yourself, like, let's say my goal is to be the CEO of the biggest company in the world or whatever it is, to know that even if I was to realize at some point that I'm never going to be the CEO of the biggest company in the world, all the things I was doing to become the biggest CEO are still things that I would do anyway. I would always turn up to work early. I would always give my job 100%. I would always do research on the weekends about how I can be a better whatever it is. Like I would be doing all these things, even if I was certain that I wasn't going to do the thing, or the thing wasn't important as to me as it was. I would still do all of these things anyway, just because I love how they make me feel, and I love like bettering myself and trying to move towards like being a better version of me, whatever that version is.
Yeah, I think it's really good to have that awareness that like if you took away all of the competing side of things, would you still do this? And I think you can apply that to any goal or anything that you're doing in your life. We're specifically talking about bodybuilding, but I think that's a really good like little mental health check.
Yeah. It can help you with the rigidity of things too sometimes, to a little check in with yourself, to be if you're being too strict with yourself. So let's say if I told you that you weren't going to achieve the body you wanted in 6 months, it was going to take 6 years, would you still be as hectic with the things you're doing now? Or would you kind of give yourself a little bit more of a like breather and be like, you know what, it's okay if once a week I do this, or it's okay if once a week I don't hit this step count or whatever it is? Because I think sometimes when you have a shorter timeline, you're more strict with yourself, and that can really take all the fun out of it. Whereas if somebody told you, no, you know what, you've got 6 years before you are going to achieve this, you'd, oh, maybe I'll take a bit of a breath and I'll be like, okay, you know what, like I don't have to be so like emotionally invested in this every single day of everything going absolutely perfect. That when the time scale is this long, like I don't have to be perfect every day. I just have to be good every week, and I'm going to get there, kind of thing.
Yeah, it takes the pressure
And I would
off.
rather have 6 years of enjoying myself than 5 years and 364 days of stress, and then 1 day of enjoying myself at the end of that 6 years. Like
Exactly.
it's the long road. It's the long road, baby. Like if it's a big goal, it's going to take a long time to get there, and just realize that it's not worth 1 day of feeling good if it costs you 3 years of being stressed and having everything invested in the future.
Well, it might be a good place to finish this conversation. I think that
Wrap her
was
up.
a great topic, very relevant for us and hopefully for you guys as well.
I also wanted to just take a quick moment to thank Liz today for setting all this up again. She does a
thank
really good
you.
job putting this all together. I just kind of sit back and watch. And I also want to thank Liz for not asking me too many questions. So everyone doesn't find out how messed up I am in the head. And I look like the introspective wise one because I get to ask all the questions. But I was secretly fearing she was going to ask me a few.
Oh, well, we did get a little bit out of you about your childhood.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, I can definitely ask you some more.
But yeah, it's a lot easier. Like, don't watch this and be like, oh yeah, he's the like,
he's got
all his shit together and she's the one on the couch like with the issues. No, if she had bounced that back at me, you would have seen a lot of messed up stuff come out of me as well. It's just today I just chose to hone in on Liz because that's just what we were talking about this morning.
Yeah, no, I think it was good. We were able to both bring some examples from our own lives and past. But yeah, I'm happy to dig a little deeper next time on you.
Point the arrow.
You can't get
back
off
in the
that
other
easy.
direction, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, everyone. I think we'll wrap it up there. But yeah, thanks for joining us again. This is episode 5 that we're up to now. 5 is my favorite number.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu. And how do we end our podcast?
Shei.
Shei. We could do shei today.
Shei.
All right.
Shei is thank you in Mandarin.
We'll do it in sync. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Shei.